Today I'm looking at the new features in Procreate 4.2. Hi everyone, Steve Elliott here again. When I say that new features in Procreate 4.2, I specifically mean the clipping tool, the shape tool for drawing circles and rectangles and things, and also the resizing tool. So whenever I demo anything, I try to do a drawing or a painting or something like that. So what I'm doing here, I'm just setting up the scene. So I'm using the line tool, which is basically where you can draw a line, hold the stylus on the screen, and it makes it a straight line. And I've put in 3 colours here to give myself some sort of background that I'm going to use for my drawing. And also I'm just using the pen tool, the lining pen, I guess it is. So it's sort of, it's quite, it's not organic. It's not the normally way I work. This is going to be very graphic type image. So what I'm doing now, I'm putting in some clouds in the sky. I've got some foreground and middle ground in, and I'm going to work with these autumn colours that I'm really banging on about at the minute because I'm loving autumn. So one of the new features is the ability to draw shapes, and to do that you can do it with any brush, because I've tried it with 1 or 2 different brushes, and you can draw sort of a rough circle, but if you keep the stylus on the screen, it tidies it all up so you can make an elliptical shape. And also, I'm obviously just sort of using the fill tool to fill that circle in. You can also, when you draw a shape, you can hold your finger on the screen and it makes a perfect circle. And then while you've still got your finger or your stylus on the screen, you can resize that and move it about as I'm doing there, get it just where you want. And you can fill it in if you want or not. So if you're doing sort of isometric type drawings and things like that, it will be great. But, you know, I'm more into the sort of organic type thing. So what I thought I'd do, I'd draw a few autumn trees. And you also see there's an edit option where you get little nodes where you can resize the actual circle with the nodes. So it really is, it's a little bit like vector drawing, I suppose, but it isn't, because as soon as you stop drawing, it becomes a pixel image. So I'm just doing some sort of rough leaf type clusters in some trees here, and they're all done using this drawing tool. You can draw any sort of shape. You can draw circles, rectangles, squares, and by holding your finger on the screen while you're drawing with the stylus. So if you've got your stylus in your right hand, put the finger of your left hand on the screen and draw. You can get perfect squares and so on. And you can also do much more irregular shapes and triangles as well. And I use the triangles a little bit when I start doing the trunks of these trees. So as you can see, you've got a lot of scope. You can do some really big circles just by dragging the stylus. Gives you a very, very flexible way of drawing very nice, neat circles. So I'm going to whiz this forward a little bit until I've got all these circles on the screen that I want. So to quickly recap on that, you can draw a circle, a square, a triangle, simply by drawing the shape roughly without taking your stylus off the screen. Then when you close the shape, hold the stylus on the screen, and the software does the rest and gives you a nice defined shape, whether it's a circle or a triangle or whatever. And there you can see I was just drawing some triangles for the trunks of the trees and then filling them in. So that is the first feature. Very cool. It's been a long time coming. People requesting that you can draw circles in Procreate. This second tool is very useful as well. I can see me using this a lot. and this is called a clipping mask. To create a clipping mask, open up the layers and create a new layer that you above the layer that you want to use for the clipping. So I've created a new clipping mask layer above the orange branches, or the orange leaves that you can see there. And straight away, when I change the colour and start to draw on my clipping mask, you can see that the lines I draw do not go out of the shape that I'm drawing over. So I can be very, very loose and draw lines very quickly and not worry about them going outside of the boundaries of the layer that I've chosen. And here you can see I'm sort of putting some wiggly lines, I suppose, on the leaves and also on the trunks of the trees. So I'm going to create another clipping mask now for the green leaves. And you'll see I'll do the same again. I'll be changing the colour. Well, first of all, I'm doing the trunks. Can you see I've got the trunks? They've got wavy lines in. And now I'm going to change the colour for the leaves. So I'm selecting the yellow. And there we go in. That's probably, you can see that better. I draw those strokes in and they just do not go out of that boundary of that clipping mask. So that really is a nice feature. It's dead easy to use. And it gives you the ability to draw really fine detail within an area of that clipping mask. So that is the clipping tool. I really like it. I can see me using that all the time for all sorts of things. And the next one I'm going to look at is the Resize tool. But to do that, I'm just going to merge a couple of layers together first, because what I'm going to do at the minute, the composition looks okay. And I'm going to move some of the trees and group them closer together so I can change the composition of this drawing completely. I mean, it looks okay like that, but I just want to... Oh, and there's another feature that I forgot to mention. This is one of the... when you select, there's now an option to draw a rectangle or an ellipse to select a shape. So that makes it a lot easier to select shapes and move them around. So I use that just to clump the trees more over to the left, because I've decided that this might make a design for, say, a t-shirt or something like that. And I want to make a square composition of this. So I'm just going to move the elements that I've drawn, and then I am going to resize this. So to do this, I choose the spanner tool and then the canvas, and from there crop the crop option, and then you can resize it, and you can see it sort of grays out the area that you're going to crop off. Get the composition exactly as you want it, just by dragging the corners or the middle handles. Once you're happy with that, choose the done button. So I'm just sort of tweaking it, very fussy, about things like that. And there we have it. I have now cropped the image, so that feature has been wanting a long, long while. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do one more clipping mask layer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a layer that does an orange triangle, not triangle, an orange, I don't know what shape you'd call that, but it's kind of a squashed down rectangle. Is it? I don't know what it is. It's been a long time since I studied names of shapes. And then I create a clipping mask above this orange shape that I've just done. And I'm going to draw in some leaves. So this is really all about finishing off the composition. I've done all of the demoing the different features, but I'm still using them now. So underneath this orange layer, but above the background layer, I'm going to create some more shapes for some shadows for these trees, because they look like they're floating a little bit. So I'm just sort of drawing in. I did find it a little bit fiddly, because I could have done with zooming in a bit really, but I was just sort of drawing shapes on a layer below the actual trees, but above the foreground. And you can see I'm going to fill those in once I've drawn them all. I don't know if I draw them all and start filling them in. I can't remember what I did. But here we go. I'm just sort of putting a shadow of colour, green, similar to that of the leaves. And I'm going to change the perspective as I'm going along to make it look as though, oops, got that one a little bit wrong there. So you've got to make sure that the shape is closed when you try to fill it, or you're going to be in a world of hell when it fills in your complete screen. And I did find, with these smaller shapes, I did find it a little bit tricky to get the shape without it turning into a line in places. So, I mean, that would have been easily resolved if I'd have zoomed in, really. So that was, I think that was me just learning to use the tools, perhaps, that made it look a little bit clumsy. So it's just sort of finishing little touches. There we are. I've got some, so you can see there's sunlight behind these trees, casting this nice shadow. And then I'm thinking, right, let's create one more clipping mask above this orange foreground now that I've redrawn in. And I am going to just draw some leaf shapes in just to finish that off. So you can see I've got the orange layer, and I forgot to create a new layer above it for the clipping mask. So now I'm going to make that the clipping mask. There we are. And I can start drawing these orange shapes in. So let's get cracking on with them. So we're coming to the end of the drawing now, which is the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed this one. It's been a bit of fun, different to what I normally do. I thought I'd try something different for these new features. And I hope you've learned something from it. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, a big thumbs up, as always, is much appreciated. And if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing, because I have lots of videos all about digital painting, and I would love to be sharing them with you. So hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye.